Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Before you get too far into this great tale from the past, please like the video and leave a comment saying what time you are watching this video and where you are tuning in from. Please subscribe. Now settle in. Elias Carter arrived in California not with a pickaxe and pan, but with a ledger book and a keen eye for trade. The year was 1851, and the Sierra foothills buzzed with the fever of gold. Men from every corner of the world dug into riverbeds, sleeping under canvas and drinking away their earnings. But Elias had learned in Missouri that not every man was meant to strike the earth. Some struck bargains instead. He set up his general store in a haphazard town that had sprouted like a weed along the trail. The miners called it Whiskey Crossing, a name born of saloons and broken dreams. Elias rented a rough plank shack, its gaps stuffed with rags against the dust, and nailed a board above the door that read simply, Carter's Goods. Inside he stocked flour in barrels, beans in sacks, sugar measured by the scoop, nails, boots, lantern oil, tobacco, rope, and most popular of all, whiskey. On opening day men crowded in, gold dust jingling in their pouches. Elias weighed each pinch carefully on his scales, scraping stray grains off the wood counter. Trust was rare in these hills, and a dishonest scale could end in blood. Still, suspicion came easily. A miner with red-streaked eyes jabbed a finger at Elias' scales. "Feels light," he growled. "It's true measure," Elias answered, voice steady. "I'd not cheat a man out of what he's dug with his back." The miner stared hard, then nodded slowly. Word spread, Carter's scales were honest. Running a store in Gold Rush, California was no idle task. Elias faced problems of supply as much as of customers. Every sack of flour, every spool of thread had to come from San Francisco by ship, then overland by mule. Prices soared with every mile. A barrel that cost $3 in Missouri could fetch 20 here. And yet, even at that price, supplies vanished quick as rain on dust. Wholesalers tried to cheat him, slipping in weevilled flour or watered whiskey. Wagon drivers sometimes disappeared, their loads stolen or their bodies found along the trail. Elias kept accounts with pencil and ink, his hands blistered not from digging earth but from hauling crates and stacking shelves. The customers were no easier. Some bargained endlessly, insisting their gold dust was pure, not mixed with river sand. Others tried to slip brass shavings or lead pellets onto the scale. One evening, a brawl broke out in his very doorway when two miners argued whose pouch had spilled onto the floor. Elias learned to keep a stout club behind the counter, and he hired a wiry runaway boy named Tom to sweep floors and watch for thieves. "Best money you'll make ain't in gold," Tom said once, grinning. "It's in keeping men from killing each other." Not far down the muddy street stood another shop, run by a man named Jasper Doolin. Where Elias strove for fairness, Jasper cared for nothing but profit. His whiskey was cut with turpentine, his nails bent like twigs, and his scales tipped light as feathers. Yet many men flocked there, tempted by lower prices and Jasper's loud promises. "Carter's a fool," Jasper sneered one day, loud enough for Elias to hear. "We ain't come to California to play honest, we come to get rich." Elias ignored the insult, though anger burned in him. He had seen too many men ruined by greed to believe in easy fortune. Still, Jasper's growing trade bit deep into his own. At night, Elias would count his coins, worrying if he could afford the next supply wagon. One summer evening, the air dry as tinder, a lantern was knocked over in a saloon. Flames leapt from building to building, devouring wood and canvas alike. Elias woke to the roar of fire and the shouts of men. By the time he staggered into the street, half the town was ablaze. He and Tom fought desperately to save the store, hauling buckets from the creek, smothering sparks with damp sacks. The roof caught once, then again, and Elias thought all was lost. Yet by dawn, though the saloons were ash and even the rival shop lay in ruins, Carter's Goods still stood, scorched and smoking but standing. The fire changed everything. With Jasper's store gone, Elias became the town's sole supplier, but he refused to raise prices unfairly, though men urged him to. "If I burn a man in trade," he said, "it's no better than the fire that burned his home." The miners respected him for it, and his reputation grew stronger than ever. Prosperity brought danger. One autumn night, as Elias locked up, 3 masked men burst in with pistols. "Gold dust," one barked. "Hand it over." Elias froze. The day's earnings lay in a tin box beneath the counter. His heart hammered, but before he could move, Tom hurled a sack of beans at the nearest robber, knocking his pistol aside. Elias swung his club with all his strength, striking another. The third fired wild, the shot grazing Elias' arm. The struggle spilled into the street, where townsfolk, roused by the noise, rushed in. The bandits fled, leaving behind 1 mask and a trail of blood. Whispers spread that Jasper Doolin had arranged the robbery, though no proof was ever found. Elias, arm bandaged and sore, carried on. The town would not let him fail. They saw him now as their own. Years passed. The gold-rush towns shifted like sand, some vanishing, some swelling with new strikes. But Carter's goods endured. It became more than a store, a place where men posted letters, where neighbors gathered for news, where children came for penny candy and widows for credit until harvest. Elias grew older, hair turning to iron gray, but his scales never tipped unfairly. His word never faltered. He had not struck gold in the ground, but he had struck it in trust. And in a land where fortunes rose and fell like floods, that was the richest vein of all. When Elias finally closed his ledger one last time, Tom, now grown into a man, took over the store. Outside, the town had changed. Roads widened, stagecoaches rattled through, and the fever of gold had cooled. Yet Carter's goods remained, a steady post in a restless land. The miners had once laughed at Elias for not digging, but in the end, he had built something more lasting than gold. His store stood as proof that even in a world of dust and hunger, honesty and perseverance could carve a fortune of their own.